Welcome to Hey That's Me, a commentary podcast. I'm Patrick Ottner.
I'm Brian Lynch. Patrick, what kind of podcast is this?
Oh my gosh, Brian, what a beautiful question that you've asked me. This is a podcast where we do commentaries on movies and TV shows with people who made those movies and TV shows who never got a chance to do an audio commentary on them. So it could be a composer, it could be an actor, it could be a costume designer, it could be an editor. But today, Brian, we got the top of the heap. We have a director.
Wow. And what show is it today?
Brian, it's one of the best sketch comedy shows of all time, The Kids in the Hall.
It's not season 2, episode 1, is it?
It's season 2, episode 1.
That means we got Stephen Surjik?
We did. We got Stephen Surjik.
Wow. Holy cow.
Steven's a guy, works so much, works in TV and film so much. Directed Wayne's World 2. Works a lot in the Marvel, Netflix era of TV shows. Did a lot of Daredevil, which, spoiler alert, maybe we'll be doing an episode of Daredevil with him coming up soon.
He's got a lot of range.
He does.
And what great stories. What a guy he was.
Yeah, really cool guy. I'd never met him. I didn't know him. And I was very happy with how it turned out because it seemed like he had a good time and he loved telling stories, you know?
Pulled up on a motorcycle wearing a suit.
He did. He was very cool. He
Yeah.
came, he had his helmet, he came in a motorcycle, he looked cool as hell. But that's why I like doing this show, because I feel like these people don't always get a chance to talk about these things. And he was so psyched to be able to talk about these two major things in his life, you know?
Well, the Kids in the Hall, the one we're watching today, they are my favorite sketch comedy group. Is that safe to say? I think other than maybe Brian Wilson, I've seen them live more than anybody else. Like any other person, any other group. Not that Brian Wilson's a group, but you know what I mean? Any other performer. Anytime they're remotely nearby, I go and see them.
That's amazing. I had no idea.
Love the Kids in the Hall and rip them off a lot for Big Helium Dog.
Mm-hmm.
I was so excited to talk to him about this. There's some amazing all-time sketches in this episode, and to hear about the making of it was really fun. It was a real honor.
You can watch this anywhere. It's pretty readily available to find. And a reminder, it's the season premiere of season 2. So pull it up if you want to watch along with us, and you can start and press play in 3, 2, 1, go.
This is exciting.
Kids in the Hall, season 2, episode 1. I'm Patrick.
I'm Brian.
And I'm Stephen.
You got to use the mic.
And I'm Stephen.
There you go. So we're watching season 2, episode 1. How did this show come to you?
Interestingly, it didn't come easy.
Mm-hmm.
I was directing commercials, music videos in Toronto, and scrubbing away at it. And I heard that I just finished spending a year at something called the Canadian Film Institute, not unlike the AFI here,
Mm-hmm.
and which was run by a guy named Norman Jewison. And you heard of him?
Yeah,
Sure,
of course.
Of course.
So then he was interested in taking kids that were doing this and trying to expand them into another universe. So anyway, I was working on a short film there, and I got a call that they were interviewing commercial directors for this new show called Kids in the Hall. They had done a year on it. There were budget problems. They were all fighting. It required some kind of diplomatic savvy, and I was. I haven't heard of it. But in fact, they were regularly doing shows in my neighborhood. Like there's a place called the Queen Mom that they would play on the stage and stuff. So I knew a bunch of my friends that liked them and said, hey, you should really do that. And that's how close it was. I almost was like, well, I don't know what this.
Yeah.
So I went in and I interviewed for it. I interviewed again, and I interviewed the third time, and finally got the job. It was really a lot of interviewing and a lot of time where they look you in the eye and see who you are,
Trying to figure you out. Yeah.
I think Bruce sat on my lap twice during those meetings. It was a different time, It
Sure.
was a different time. Now, this show, as you can see, is a lot in front of a live studio audience, and they would, shoot these, and we would put these short films that we shot on exteriors up in between the set changes, and we'd use it for them. So they would run off the stage, change their clothes, come to a new stage while this little short film would show on the monitors.
So it's a lot like SNL. That's how SNL works.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Were you there for the recordings of the?
Yes,
the
I
live
would be
stuff
there.
too?
I would be there at those recordings, not directing them, just observing, watching how my little shows played.
Mm-hmm. Would you re-edit stuff after it aired?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's where it became a real learning process. And I would say, because it's fun, such a funny sketch. Taking the pants off. just feel more comfortable with my pants off. So during this, we would hit, the audience would laugh or they wouldn't laugh, and I'd make some adjustments, and then we would, fix it.
Yeah.
Or reshoot it in the case
Really?
of, because these shows, most of the short films we were doing were short pieces. To be a minute, 2 minutes, 4 minutes, but rarely, it was an extraordinary experience for a young director. I say that was a young director then, because you were allowed to make mistakes. Mm-hmm. Now a young director comes onto a show, it's a $5 million an episode, and if they shit the bed, excuse the expression, it's really damaging for the company, for them, for everyone who knows them, their family. It's bad. This was, I could mess it up, no big deal.
Yeah. Did they have a budget, or what was their...
No. It was a zero budget show. I mean, we had money from... Are we okay? The sound?
Someone's doing housework above us. So
housework, hustlers.
It's Scott Thompson.
There,
it all ties in.
He found himself a gig. I just worked with Scott last year on FUBAR with and Scott's in fantastic shape, like acting chops. He's great, and it was great to work with him again. And we caught up. Dave Foley is still kicking, and they're all doing stuff, and it's just great to see them, to cross paths with them. Yeah. When we do look at, he's gonna fuck right on. Oh, excuse me.
You can curse. It's fine.
I saw Kevin McDonald at the Bell House in Brooklyn, and his special guest at his show was Mike Myers.
There you go.
So there you go, a real Canada
cinematic
show.
universe.
Yeah. So no money.
Well,
did you have
you had a camera, so
yeah?
So Lorne Michaels made a deal with the guy who ran the CBC, which is like a government funded, cheesy ass, like that's their furniture probably for all this.
Right, sure.
They had some flats. But so they would have a generator, and they would have a camera, and they would have some film stock which we would buy, and that was it was very, very skinny. They pay me, minimum wage. I can't really remember what it was.
Yeah,
it was better than that. But then what we got to do was kind of great,
Of course.
And I started to think it was pretty funny stuff.
Yeah,
it took me a little while, but only because I was dense,
Do you remember the moment when that happened? Was there anything that clicked? Or?
I think when we came into this show, there was Scott Thompson standing in front of a tree, talking about how we buried a body. I think, and I think that was it. When they got to the dark parts, I was going, "Wow, that's great." I think that's really funny. And we did this one episode where this one film where, it's after a movie, and I think it was Kevin. Or was it Bruce? Anyway, they come out and they're talking. Well, what do you want to do now? I don't know. What do you want to do? Do you want to see a dead body? And so they had to through the cornfields, and they uncovered this body. I played the dead body.
Oh.
I played on a couple of small dead body scenes and these things. But anyway, I started to really, really like it, and I started to really, really like them. My way in on this, the way I got this job was that I presented this idea of doing storyboards, because they're all authors. They author their own material, and they're all in competition. And they're all, as a group, they're also very, they're united. Mm-hmm. So they will go up against the producers, but as individuals, they want to know that their stuff is being properly attended to. So I would show them the storyboards that I did. If I didn't get it, I'd expect them to say, "No, you don't get it. Do this." And that really gave them the confidence to move forward with me. And that's how I got that gig.
How were they on set in terms of getting their stuff on and fighting for what they thought was funny with the other people in the group?
Well, generally speaking, one or two would author one piece, a piece, so they would already be on the same page. Generally, sometimes when one of them had an idea to do something and they presented it, the script, and maybe the script wasn't in a perfect place, they would then the producers and I would actually ask the rest of the kids to weigh in to help them because they trusted them better. Well, that caused more trouble than we really should have, because then they would get competitive, and in a good way, creatively competitive. But they all had their own strengths, and they were all unique in that way. Again, every actor has their own thing. But, I remember there was... Anyway, go ahead. You have a question.
I was going to say, who do you think you connected with the most out of the group?
Yeah, that's a good question, because at one point I was saying, well, I think that it was the Buddy Thompson's character, Scott Thompson's character. I mixed them
Buddy
up.
Cole,
Buddy Cole. And then it was Bruce McCullough, and it was My Horrible Secret, and Bruce's my pen, and it was Bruce. And then it was his character in Night of the Cow. Mark was the sick, abusive farmer. I'm going to milk her again, and then it was Kevin's in his fantasy of having this relationship with this cleaning lady. It just kept shifting,
Right.
And then I realized that they all had their own thing, and I'm really not trying to be political here. I swear to God, the last person I spoke with seemed to be the smartest. So,
I mean, that's kind of the dream version of that.
Right,
is when I say, who did you connect with, and you're like, I mean, everyone
except Dave.
Except Dave. Well, here's a story with Dave. Is I remember how old I am. We were playing ping pong. And Dave, and we were talking about the Iraq War I.
Sure.
Oh wow.
Okay. Remember that, Brian?
And, I wasn't born yet.
He wasn't born yet. Of course he wasn't.
No, I was in high school, I think.
David was saying, it's just propaganda, Steve. It's just about. And I was like, no, there's throwing children out of incubators onto the street. Yeah. Steve, you're gonna find out that's not true. Well, it was a couple of years later. We were playing the same ping pong game, and I said, Dave, you were right. I was wrong.
Yeah.
There were no babies in incubators being thrown out. That was that was all bullshit.
Yeah.
And then I became really close with Dave. I mean, it was just kind of by way of
Iraq War I.
Yeah. During the geez, there was a lot of weird shit that happened on the show. It was all good, but we went through a lot of stuff together. Oh, look at that.
Was there any part of you that wanted to direct the live stuff?
No, okay. I didn't have confidence in that. I used to do a lot of live music for big screens, in concerts, and I didn't think it was. I thought it was sort of beneath me.
Sure.
Listen to me. I'm just saying.
Sure.
And it's not, because when you watch how they do it on SNL, and when I would go to visit Lauren, I'd watch them chip out these sketches one little piece at a time, and it blew my mind how good they were at it.
It's a totally different skill. It's just you
just a different skill. Yeah. That's what it is. Yep. And they still have a director. They still have a script. They still have a découpage, as they say en français. And you have to find your way through it. But I just, at the time, that was not what I was aspiring to.
Yeah. Do you which SNLs did you go to? Do you remember any?
Oh, I went there a lot. Listen to me, it was a lot for me. It's probably, but every time I went there, my producer on Kids in the Hall, Mr. Forrestal, young man from Texas, who was the brother of someone that Lauren was married to.
Oh, okay.
So we would go to New York to check out what was going on and to report in on what was happening with us, and we would do that. Eventually, we would do it every few weeks. It was New York was close to Toronto. It was a quick flight, and I remember being in Lauren's office and Lauren being fitted for a suit, and him telling me, "No, Stephen, you don't approach Larry Lansing that way. You should be talking about." And they're fitting for the suit, and I look in the doorway, and Steve Martin is there over in the other seat, making faces at me, and then at the door, Paul McCartney comes to the door and says, "I don't know what to play," and he said, "Well, you want to play something that's really popular. Don't play any of the new stuff. Play something popular." And he left the room, and I was like, I gotta go outside and listen to the sound check, because his office is right behind stage. Yeah. So I went out there and I watched them play "Hey Jude" with his and the entire NBC staff showed up on that floor to watch.
Basically a private concert.
It was pretty great.
Yeah.
It was pretty great. And they had this New Orleans drummer that kind of just changed the vibe, so it was super, super hip.
Oh, wow. That's so cool.
There was a lot of that.
it's hard when you're doing comedy when you're young and you're just getting into it and like knowing how to do things the right way, and it's a learning experience and you do fuck up like that sometimes and you gotta
I still fuck up, but it lasts. So this is Bobby and the Devil, and
what's the biggest difference for you directing comedy and directing drama?
I'm going to say now I realize that there is no difference. That whether it's a romantic movie, a horror movie, a action picture, it really comes down to you still need actors that you believe in. You still got to be rooting for them. It should have heart. There should be laughs in it. It all. I think it's all really similar, oddly. And that, with the fullness of time, I think has been my biggest epiphany, and I'm ready for the grave.
No, you got more.
So this is you more. Too. You did this one too.
Yes, yeah. Okay. So this idea of him having like two voices here was all his idea. Bobby, and he starts to play. But he was obsessive about this character, and also about the chicken lady. Like we had to get him a chicken, and we had to put it in his office in a cage, and he would study the chicken, how the chicken moved, and we thought he was, I'm sorry, but we thought he lost his shit, but and this fucking thing stunk, and we didn't like the chicken very much. So, and was the chicken going to make it? Are we torturing the chicken? Like, what are we doing here? And then he came on stage with his outfit, and the costumer built something beautiful for him, and he came walking on that stage like with it like that, the way a chicken moves, and it blew my mind. And I was like, okay, well, now it's Mark McKinney,
Yeah. But it's the same thing, I imagine, as an actor doing a drama, where it's like,
yes,
Daniel Day-Lewis is figuring out how to be Lincoln, and now he's Lincoln, and you're just like, it's all
kept Lincoln in a cage.
Yeah,
watch how he walked.
But it's all the same.
Yeah, he did. He kept Lincoln in a cage. I know someone who worked with him on My Left Foot, and he was trying to get someone to feed him, and the grip said, "Well, fucking feed yourself."
Oh wow, yeah. Someone pointed out that he couldn't do that movie now. The My Left Foot.
I've never seen My Left Foot.
Well, he plays a paraplegic, and that they probably wouldn't be allowed to do that now.
No,
the movie that made him.
No, it would. He would have to find someone who actually was right in it.
Yeah.
There's the double-handed thing. We practiced that for a little while.
Do we know whose hands those are?
Jesus. Yes.
We're getting into the nitty-gritty here.
Yeah. His name is. I believe that's Jeff. Is it Berman? He was one of the producers.
Oh wow!
And friends of the kids.
Him.
Yeah. Looks like his hands. Yeah. What are you filming on? What kind of is it film?
This was 16 millimeter, and we did bleach bypass for this look here. I mean, we were so into the details of that garbage, and so that's how we got that grain out of there. And this is, they wanted us to shoot on tape, but we said no, we can't. We have to define ourselves from the other, from the live show. And even though it looks like kind of shit, 16 millimeter is pretty grungy stuff, but it's different, right?
But it kind of helps that it's grungy, I think, in this. Yeah. And I assume you're editing, with the actual film itself. It's not digital. You're not at that point yet.
I think that's what we were doing.
Yeah.
And somewhere along here it changed.
Do you remember when things changed to being edited on digital?
Well, I remember the transformation because I remember there was like 2 or 3 like missteps where they had stacks and stacks of these recorders that were trying to find a way, and it wasn't really working. I was like, this is not random access. Then suddenly there was something called an Avid, and it happened like in about over a 2 or 3 year period. It was changed. That was it. And then everything from that point on was, of course, just various versions of that.
Sure.
I'm surprised this is actually a girl playing this role.
Yeah. Rare for the show.
Yeah, it was like, and Bruce was forever hurting his hand, like damaging himself because like with what you were saying, when you're starting off, you don't know limitations or what. This was funny too. It's stupid. I was figuring about crazy people that we.
How do you do something like that?
Well, we simply had a turntable, and we got it going, and we reduced the speed on the camera, so it was shooting like a few frames, and then we just kept it going and kept it going.
That's so funny.
Sped up Bruce once punched a mirror and fucking broke his hand. In my horrible secret, just bust his hand, right? Just like bang.
Right.
And I was like, oops. Like we all did stupid things like that.
Was he frustrated? Was he?
No, no. It was part of the. It was the role. It was part of the role. He was
Okay.
And he punches the mirror, and he hit it first time, and he hurt his hand. But he said, "No, I'm okay." I was like, "I don't know if you're okay." He did it again, and he broke something, and it was bad.
Oh man.
This set's great.
Yeah, that is it. And we had a good, and that's what they were good at, that CBC.
Yeah.
They had, there's George Forrestal. That was the
Here we go.
producer. John Blanchard did the live stuff.
Wait for your name.
Oh,
is
yeah.
my name going to be in there? Oh!
Well, hey, that's you.
Amazon.
Hey, that's
Amazon
me.
stopped playing the
That's
credits.
me. That's me. That's thank you, Amazon. Now I don't feel so bad about canceling my subscription to the Washington Post. Oops.
Wrapping up thoughts on Kids in the Hall. What did you learn from that show?
Gee, I learned a lot. I learned so much. I can't even really begin. It was my first real professional gig, and it actually kind of fed me right into the system, and I never looked back.
Yeah.
So
that's great.
Yeah.
Thanks for making it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for liking it.
Oh, I love it.
I do appreciate that you went down the hallway acting like the coolest guy in the world.
All around campus, we did it.
I love it.
And we'd sing the song.
That is such a great thing.
As far as plugging stuff, what should people watch? What have people not seen that you think they should watch?
This stuff hits. I think in these Kids in the Hall, I think there was there was some sketches. There was something called Night of the Cow, and Night of the Cow got me in a lot of trouble with the CBC radio people because I went in for an interview and they attacked me. They thought we were being anti-feminist or something, or because the cow was trying to escape this abusing farm. I never even thought of it that way. Again, I was like an idiot. I didn't. Some of the other sketches were. There was a short sketch. I don't even know if we did it about the body. Oh yeah, finding the body, and where I played the body. I like that part. There's a short. There's a short list of some of my favorites. I really liked My Horrible Secret, where Bruce orders a hairpiece, and a squirrel sees him, and so he has to kill the squirrel, and then he wears the squirrel on his head. It was very abstract. Yeah. All the pieces are really, really rudimentary and made with silly putty and willpower. You know? And that's why, and that's how and that's what I learned. I learned that you can do that if you have a cast and you have creative people. You don't really need too much else. You know.
Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
This was amazing.
Bye. There's an argument that could be made that each of them is the funniest person in the group.
Yes. Growing up and in college, Bruce McCullough was hands down my favorite. I still love him, but now I can't choose. I think you're absolutely right. All five of them are geniuses. I can't get over it. But do you remember during the pandemic that I bought Kevin McDonald a cameo for Kevin McDonald for his birthday?
Yeah.
And we got to see him in real time, realize that I had bought him one, and he proceeded to tell stories.
Do you still have that?
Yeah, we can't make them public, though. I cannot put it. We can't. I know you were thinking, could we put it on Patreon? We can't.
I don't even remember the stories.
He tells stories that they wouldn't talk again. It would be our fault.
Oh, well. Sorry, guys. If you want to do that, you'll have to send Kevin McDonald some money.
Why don't you, or just email us or message us. I'll tell you the stories.
Oh, there you go. Message Brian.
Only if you're a member, though. Only if you join our Patreon.
Oh, yes. If you prove that you are a member of our Patreon, which you can get at patreon.com/commentary, then Brian will tell you the stories that Kevin McDonald told him. I think that's a good rule to have.
Oh, sure. I'm not giving free information out to just anyone.
And also a paid member, not just a free member. You got to be a paid member.
Oh, yeah. No.
Throw a couple bucks our way, you know?
There's no such thing as a free member. No.
Well, there is, but...
No, it doesn't count. Not in my eyes. That was one of two cameos we got. Do you remember we got another one with our friend Lane, who had a Kevin McDonald story and wanted to hear his point of view on it because he was kind of rude to her. And I spelled it out for him, and he told us all about his point of view. He did. We could put that one up. I don't think he'd have a problem with that.
Okay. I don't remember the specifics of that one, but yeah, send that to me and I'll add it to this.
And my wife was really mad that I bought a cameo for Kevin McDonald for his own birthday.
It's a funny
like, how
bit.
much was that? I'm like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. He's like, because it's very funny.
Yeah.
And she's like, that's not funny. And like everyone I in front of her go, is this funny that I did this? And 100% except for her say, that's funny that you did that.
Yeah, it's funny. Sorry.
They know I'm insecure and they just want to hear me, win one for a change.
Sure. It's always a losing battle with you, Brian. You know?
Why?
Because you never win one for a change.
Oh, I'm kind of like Charlie Brown.
Yeah. You're a little who else is a big loser? Who else is a giant loser?
Peter Parker.
Sure. But he's cool. He's got cool stuff. Do you know his thing?
What? Because he's a photographer for Spider-Man? So cool.
Brian, can I tell you something?
Yeah, tell me something.
Do you know Spider-Man?
Of course I know Spider-Man. He's the guy he's the menace in New York, and Peter Parker always gets those pictures of him. Yeah.
What if I told you they were a little more than friends, Brian?
Oh, they're dating? That's fine. I'm not going to judge them.
Okay. All right. Great.
So who else is a big loser? I was just trying to think while we were doing a little Spider-Man sketch. I was thinking Eeyore. Hey guys, go to our Patreon and tell us who are the most famous fictional losers.
We'll put a poll up today.
Homer Simpson?
He's got a steady job. He's got a family. He's got a nice house.
But he doesn't see himself as a winner. I think Ralph Cramden could also be famous fictional losers. Hold on. And then you and I are going to rank each other.
On the loser scale?
Yeah, no, if we're less of a loser than these people.
Oh, okay.
Here's the 10 greatest losers in movie history. Let's start there. Ready?
Great.
Baby Jane and whatever happened to Baby Jane.
I don't know if I'd call her a loser.
Yeah, I don't either. This is a lame list, but I'm going to keep going. Jerry Lungard from Fargo. That is 100%. He is a loser.
He's a loser.
And I'm less of a loser than him.
I'm also probably less of a loser than him.
Disagree. Travis Bickle. Loser.
I guess, but is loser the word you would use for him?
No, psychopath is probably the word I would use. But
I guess he's a loser.
He's also a loser. Yeah. Jim from American Pie. I don't think he's a loser.
Would not call him a loser.
No, he's
gets the girl.
Didn't he wind up with Allison Hannigan?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He gets the girl.
The best.
Yeah.
Neville Longbottom, absolutely not a loser. That's insane.
He saves the day at the end.
He kills the snake.
Yeah.
Dewey from School of Rock, 100% not a loser in any way.
They go to the Battle of the Bands. He's doing great. I am more of a loser than Dewey. Finn.
By the way, this is CBR.com if you guys want to write an email how stupid this list is. This is unbelievable. Number 4, the biggest movie losers of all time, is the dude from The Big Lebowski.
Not a loser.
No, not a loser. Super cool.
He's doing what he wants to do.
Right.
He's living his life in the way that he wants to live it, not a loser.
We can actually argue this one, is Biff from Back to the Future.
Which timeline?
It's the picture of him being a bully in 55 in the picture. That's certainly not a loser then. I would think maybe by the end of it, you could call him a loser.
Yeah.
But by definition, he loses. There's that.
Sure.
But he's kind of on top in the movie for a lot of it. Like he's the alpha and but I would think George McFly is the loser until the end.
Yeah.
I believe Marty says something similar to that at one point. Number 2. It's the worst list. The lead in Slumdog Millionaire, the guy who wins, and the number 1 loser of all time in movies, according to this, is the narrator in Fight Club. I'm done. This is a terrible list. I mean, he's not cool, but I wouldn't say he's a loser. Google, by the way, says that Anakin Skywalker is a huge loser.
Wow.
Severus Snape. Those are not losers. King Kong, not a loser. I think Google AI thinks that a tragic character is a loser.
Hang on. I found a poll on IMDb called Biggest Movie Losers. Can I read them to you?
Okay.
Because this is a crazy list.
Okay.
Number 1. I've never seen this movie. This probably makes sense. Michael Douglas in Falling Down.
He is a loser that kind of rises up and he does bad things, but yeah, okay, that's all right.
Margot Robbie in I, Tonya.
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
Sure.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. The 2 leads from Old Boy, which I have not seen Old Boy.
Ooh, not loser so much as they're messed up for life, but I don't think loser is the word you go to there. Okay.
This is a very funny one.
Okay.
Robert De Niro in Frankenstein.
That's very specific.
He's the monster.
Yeah, that's weird. It's weird that both lists had a Robert De Niro and neither is a loser, really. I think King of Comedy Robert De Niro might be.
We're going to skip a few. Charlize Theron in Monster.
People don't know what losers are. That's so weird.
I know. Bruce Campbell in Army of Darkness. Maybe a loser.
He's a braggart. He's not like he's a chucklehead.
Yeah.
But he's not. Okay.
I would argue Ash in Ash vs. Evil Dead is a loser.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the starting point for him.
Yeah,
And by
yeah,
the
yeah.
end, he's not.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're going to skip a bunch of the other ones, but the craziest one on this list,
Mhm.
Lupita Nyong'o in 12 Years a Slave.
Wow.
That's a crazy list to make.
Wow.
What?
I don't want anything to be taken out of context here. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Bad. Wow. It's funny too, by the way, that they mentioned Jason Biggs' character from American Pie, but not Jason Biggs' character from the movie Loser. Makes you think.
Yeah.
I think Shermanator might be a loser more than Jim in the American Pie series.
This is a wild list.
Google AI also says the Elephant Man is a loser. So I know when I was watching that, I was like, oh, what a dork.
What a
total
loser.
dweeb. Get it together, Elephant Man.
You're not a human being. You're a loser.
That's the famous quote from
Yeah.
it. Not a human being. I'm a loser.
Oh, boy.
Wow. Well, this is great. I like that this movie, the show we watched this week was not about being a loser at all. But now it's become about that.
Very fun.
Maybe the best episode we've ever done is this.
Wow. Huge. Do you want to tease who's next week?
I don't really like teasing people.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
It's not nice.
It's not Cameron Crowe.
No, I think we should admit that that's never happening. You've tried, and he said some bad stuff about us publicly.
He doesn't like audio commentaries, especially podcast ones.
No, but we're the reason he doesn't like them.
Yeah.
You know what he
That's kinda
called
fun,
you?
though.
What he called you, right?
The loser.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it, but yeah.
They should add me to that IMDb list. Guys, if you have any sway on IMDb, add me to that list. All right. Bye, everybody. Thanks for listening to Hey That's Me, a commentary podcast. This has been a That Was Just So Funny production. Your hosts have been Brian Lynch and Patrick Hotner. Music was by Alex Peabody, and our art was by Abigail Noy. You can find out more about the show by going to heythat'smepod.com and checking out our Patreon at patreon.com/commentary. The show was recorded by Stephen Ray Morris. If you've enjoyed the show, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Please tell your friends about this show.
No!